Desire by James Stephens, published 1920. Recorded for Dreams, Collection 1, Stories and Poems, by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in January 2020. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit Librivox.org. Desire by James Stephens. He was quite excited as he told the story to his wife, and in the telling he revealed to her a depth of credulity of which she would not have believed him capable. He was a hard-headed man, and conducted his business on hard-headed principles. Indeed, he had conducted his courtship and matrimonial affairs in a manner which she would not have termed reckless or romantic. When, therefore, she found him excited, and over such a story, she did not know what to think. She ended by agreeing with him, not because her reason was satisfied or even touched, but simply because he was excited, and women generally welcome anything which disturbs or varies the dull round of use and wont, and will bathe in excitement whenever they get the chance. This was the story he told. As he was walking down Grafton Street to lunch, a motor car came spinning down the road at a speed much too dangerous for that narrow and always congested thoroughfare. A man was walking in front of him, and just as the car came behind, this man stepped off the path with a view to crossing the road. He did not even look behind as he stepped off. Her husband on that moment stretched forth a long muscular arm that swept the man back to the pavement 1 second before the car went blaring and buzzing by. "If I had not been there," said her husband. The two men grinned at each other, her husband smiling with good fellowship, the other crinkling with amusement and gratitude. They walked together down the street, and they had lunch together. They sat for a long time after lunch, smoking innumerable cigarettes, and engaged in a conversation which she could never have believed her husband would have stood for 10 minutes. And they parted with an expressed wish from her husband that they should meet again on the following day, and a wordless smile from the man. He had neither ratified nor negatived the arrangement. "I hope he'll turn up," said her husband. It was this conversation had excited her man, for it had drawn him into a mental atmosphere to which he was a stranger, and he had found himself moving there with such ease and pleasure that he wished to get back to it as often and with as little delay as possible. Briefly, as he explained it to her, the atmosphere was religious, and while it was entirely intellectual, it was more heady and exhilarating than the emotional religion to which he had been accustomed and from which he had long since passed. He tried to describe his companion, but had such ill success that she could not remember afterwards whether he was tall or short, fat or thin, fair or dark. It was the man's eyes only he succeeded in emphasizing, and these, it appeared, were eyes such as he had never before seen in a human face. That also, he said, was a wrong way of putting it, for his eyes were exactly like everybody else's. It was the way he looked through them that was different, something very steady, very ardent, immensely quiet and powerful was using those eyes for purposes of vision. He had never met anyone who looked at him so directly, so comprehendingly, so agreeably. "You are in love," said she with a laugh. After this her husband's explanations became more explanatory, but not less confused, until she found that they were both with curious unconsciousness in the middle of a fairy tale. "He asked me," said her husband, "what was the thing I wished for beyond all things." "That is the most difficult question I have ever been invited to answer," he went on, "and for nearly half an hour we sat quietly thinking it out and discussing various magnificences and chances in life. I had all the usual thoughts, and, of course, the first of them was wealth. I mentioned it too tentatively as a possibility, and he agreed that it was worth considering, but after a while I knew that I did not want money." "One always has need of money," said his wife. "In a way that is true," said he, "but not in this way, for as I thought it over I remembered that we have no children."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?